Vick is back with us to discuss all of it. Mike, do Russ and the Seahawks need to win this game to prove they are a Super Bowl caliber team?
Yeah, I think it's a must-win situation, and this is saying that we all can relate to, and I know Brandon can, that you win the games that you're supposed to win, and this is a game that the Seattle Seahawks are supposed to win. They need to win to put themselves back into the Super Bowl talks and conversation. The one thing I know is that Russell won't throw 3 picks this week. He'll probably be flawless and more, in control, of this week's game. Because after you throw 3 interceptions, you come back the next week, you watch film, you digest what happened, and you want nothing more but to show that that was a fluke and to make up for the things that that were on your plate that you couldn't capitalize on. So I feel like, this team is in a position where, we're looking at them and saying, they have, the Super Bowl aspirations. They have the team in place. Ultimately the defense has to step up. They got Carlos Dunlap this week and Jamal Adams should be back. So they just got to piece it all together, win the games that you're supposed to win, and this is a game they should win.
I'm nervous for Seattle, fellas. So a number of things. On the smaller piece of the nervousness is their running back room is just a mash unit. Their top 3 running backs haven't practiced all week. They're going to start a rookie named DJ Dallas out of Miami. He has 2 carries in his career. Now, I like DJ because his name is actually spelled out DJ, D-E-E-J-A-Y. I think that's an underrated thing. Not initials, spell out the initials. But I don't know if that speaks his ability to be able to run on San Francisco. Here's the other reason I'm nervous for Seattle. They were really impressive in a dominant Week 1 win, I think over Atlanta. Since then, let's think about what their games have looked like. New England, a yard away from losing. Dallas, they have to convert a 4th and 3 or they lose. Miami, it's a 2-point game with 6 minutes left before Seattle puts it away. Minnesota, they should have lost that game. I'm still upset that I lost that bet, Minnesota the money line, maybe my best bet of the year that didn't win. And then last week, they did lose. That's 5 games in a row, Brandon, that your Super Bowl team, Seattle, has been on the brink. Now, the reason that you aren't that concerned, it's like, well, they have the best on-the-brink player in the league in Russell Wilson. But nobody can roll those dice every single week and not crap out. They crapped out last week. They're only 3-point favorites at home against the Niners this week, which concerns me a bit because it feels like Vegas is begging you to bet on Seattle. I think the Niners win this football game, Brandon.
Yeah, no, look, here's the deal. The Cam Newton and the Patriots, they were playing good football before COVID hit that locker room. Fitzpatrick, your team, you picked the Miami Dolphins to make it to the playoffs this year. So that's true. So let's not talk about the Miami Dolphins as if there's some pushover.
No, they're not a bad team.
I like that matchup. Yeah, and then also you can look at this, the way these games are set up. Dak Prescott, Dallas Cowboys. Dak was throwing it for 450 yards a game before he got injured. So those were interesting matchups. Now, I don't think they need this game to prove that they're a Super Bowl caliber team. I think they need this game just to stay on track to the Super Bowl. Now, look, on the defensive side, I think they're a few weeks away from being a good enough defense that give Russell more chances, to give that offense a couple more opportunities to do what they do best, and that's to light up the scoreboard. They got Damian Snack Harrison's coming back, 2-time teammate, played with him with the Jets and the Giants. This dude can do it both in a run defense and also getting after the quarterback. You got Jamal Adams coming back from a growing, and now you got Carlos Dunlap, where they absolutely need him to put pressure on the quarterback. So I do think they're a few weeks away from that defense being good enough. offensively, that was an asterisk. That was just a blimp on this stat sheet. Russell Wilson throwing for 3 picks. Like, that's just not going to happen again. Russell Wilson, this offense is prolific. They're awesome. I think they get the job done. They need to just settle down and just do what they do best. The standard there in Seattle, and it's always been that way since Pete Carroll got there, Wilds, is let's go win the Super Bowl. That's it. Give me your best stuff every single day. Practice, game time, in the meeting room. That is the standard. That is the energy.
So I think your points about the defensive additions are massive, but I just want to elaborate on one small point you made before I kick it to Wilds, which is the difference between being a Super Bowl contender, which I think Seattle is, and being on track for the Super Bowl. We're now through half the NFL season, and I think we can say this. The NFC is deeper than the AFC, but the AFC is top-heavier. I think the 3 best teams in football are all in the AFC. Kansas City, Pittsburgh, Baltimore. But the next 7 might be in the NFC, which is why, Wilds, with a win, Seattle would be the 1 seed in the conference, and with a loss, they could wake up Monday morning on the outside looking in of the playoff picture. So because the NFC is so log-jammed at the top with teams with 4 or 5 wins, every week feels like a near must-win for any of the real contenders, Wilds.
Totally agree. I think we might be seeing the 49ers shake off their Super Bowl hangover. We're just 3 weeks away from Jimmy G being pulled from the game, and Shanahan's like, he's hurt. And they're like, oh, is he hurt or is he in danger of losing his job? Then he bounced back against the Rams. He had 3 TDs. Then he had a solid game against the Patriots. And what's the way to beat a hangover once it's about 4 o'clock? You got to eat. And guess where you're headed? The Seattle defensive buffet. You can have whatever you want. They're giving up 360 yards. So Jimmy G, you can go up to the buffet and be like, I'm a little bit hungover. Go up there with 5 plates and bring them back to Kyle Shanahan. Look at this, I'm feeling good. We could come out on the other side of this being like, wow, 49ers way better than we thought. I don't know why we wrote them off. They're in the Super Bowl.
The buffet. I love it.
Mike, what do you, Mike,
at the end of the day,
Mike, where do you
He's got a point, Michael Vick.
Jimmy G has been balling. I got to give him that. I take no credit away. I like him as a quarterback. I like him in the San Francisco 49ers uniform. They were my team growing up, I might add. So I do root for him in a sense. But it's very easy to play, when you're playing from behind. They got behind, in the win-loss column, and then they had to fight their way back for Seattle. Now it's pressure's on every week to win. And now you got the Seattle, you got the San Francisco 49ers coming into town. And it's going to be fairly easy, I would say, for the 49ers to come in and function. It's going to be harder for the Seattle Seahawks. So this is a critical matchup this